Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on, well, Total War Arena. Feels nice to be able to say that. I thought it was about time we checked back in, really. It's been pretty much a year since I actually last logged into Total War Arena, and whilst I don't really actively play, I do still, at least for kind of sentimental reasons, feel kind of compelled to check in on the game every now and then just to see how it's doing. So last time I was here, I think we had just had the Chinese faction introduced into the game. But actually, upon logging in today, we also now have a gladiators faction, which is kind of new to me. I know this is something that they were kind of actively talking about and was sort of quote-unquote actively in development at CA when Total War Arena originally, closed down back in, if it was Feb 2019, I think they shut the servers. So it's nice to see that actually this has finally kind of come to fruition and is actually now into the game. It's not a huge tech tree, you've got a few little bits sort of going up and down it. Obviously, gladiator based units, there's like some beast handlers, some dual wielders, and then basically sort of a couple of derivative Roman gladiator style units. Not really been able to get them unlocked, the actual commanders are quite expensive to purchase. I never also really got to play any of the China tree, but from what I've heard from a few people, it was certainly perhaps one of the more powerful tech trees in the game. But anyway, let's get ourselves into a match. My highest level units actually are currently Hasdrubal with the Carthaginians. I think it's the Libyan recruits. So we'll just wait for him to come out of the battle, because handily the game crashed just before I started recording this bit. So he's stuck in a battle, but once he's back out, we can then hop into a match and see how we get on, see who we can overwhelm with our units. I'm actually still kind of surprised, and I think I said this in the last video, that they haven't added in any other game modes. I think everyone I've spoken to who's sort of a veteran of the original Arena, back when it was released in Europe, one of their favourite things was the fact that once you died, you died. And that means that once you killed an enemy unit, they were out of the game. And yet they've kind of persisted with this MOBA style respawn mechanic, which is fine if they want to keep that as a game mode. I just really can't believe that there isn't enough demand from both EU and China players to put in back in the old style without this sort of capture the flag style mode. But anyway, that's probably me just wanting something different perhaps. But yeah, I always find that a little bit of an odd one that they've never really bothered to adjust that. Just trying to keep things going in this fight, which is interesting. We're a little bit outnumbered. But these Libyan recruits are actually really a very, very decent unit. That unit might just survive, while we've got one of our lead unit is actually routing at the moment. But as long as Hasdrubal himself actually survives, that would be handy. I always feel very rusty coming back into these games. It's trying to micromanage the 3 units, I don't know, I mean, those of you who have played Arena before and kind of know what the game is like. It's obviously not too bad with infantry like this. I mean, I had a few games pulling out the barbarian cavalry and I was all over the place trying to keep my momentum on, trying to not just charge as one clump of units. Really, really terrible footage, which is why I've tried to save myself too much embarrassment and haven't put it in this video. But I've had a few games now with these Libyan recruits and actually a really nice unit. I don't remember them being this nice last time round. I don't know if they've sort of since got a little bit buffed, or if I was just a bit crap with them back then, or all the enemies are a bit crap now. But yeah, they seem to be working really quite nicely. So long as you don't go toe-to-toe with Roman legionaries, then they seem to pan out really quite well. But anyway, looks like we should have this fight about in hand, as long as that tier 4 cavalry behind us doesn't go and rear charge us. Let's keep an eye on that. We do have some friendly cav around, which might kind of keep them locked in, hopefully. So anyway, I was also going to say, one thing I wanted to point out, matchmaking. Still a little bit interesting. I think if you remember last time, when I played this basically a year ago, then matchmaking was pretty difficult to find the game as this cav is just about to charge me. Go away! Leave me alone! Ah, you swine. Well, hopefully we don't completely rout. But anyway, as I was saying, matchmaking, a little bit interesting. Quite hard to find games with too many other human players. Probably not helped by the fact I'm still in the lower tiers, really, because I haven't put the time in before to get up into, the higher sort of tier 6, 7, 8s. So it means that in matches like this, I'm getting some human players. As you can see on the teams, there's some other sort of human players here. Also a few bots as well. So it's kind of like a bit of a mix. And that seems to be pretty common, at least in every match I've been having so far. Maybe that improves if you're doing this kind of on a Saturday afternoon, maybe it's sort of peak time, then maybe you'll be getting full human games, but at least in my experience so far, struggled a little bit with the matchmaking, but it just seems to fill them in with bots. And the bots aren't horrendous. It's definitely had worse. So at least it's good that you can kind of at least get games now, because I think there was a point when it basically was just entirely unoperable. But anyway, that aside, we're now pushing forward. So we managed to clear through those enemies. The cavalry didn't manage to completely kill me, although there's not a tremendously large amount left in my unit. I think we're just going to just try and... Well, there's quite a lot there. But then we have got a unit of hoplites on the flank, so maybe we should just be getting straight into the fight. Or should we be pushing up and try and sneak around the side? Oh, we'll just go, if in doubt, straight ahead. Charge! Oh, it did a little bit of damage. Better than poke in the eye. Let's just go through and buff all these guys. Obviously, I'm sure some of you remember Hasdrubal. I actually really liked him. I used to really like him as a cavalry commander because he gets all these buffs and debuffs. And when you start to get into the later game, you can really quite effectively debuff. And particularly if you target an enemy unit on its own, you can basically throw your cavalry in, buff all your cavalry units, and then debuff the enemy unit. And so it gets to the point that your defense, your melee defense, skyrockets, and the enemy's melee attack plummets. So basically it means that they can't hit you and you can basically have a free kill. Or at least that's what it used to be like back in the original game. So I got on really quite well with Hasdrubal in the cavalry. Although I think I was perhaps one of the few people who really kind of enjoyed him. I think most people didn't really get on all that well with the Carthaginian cavalry. But anyway, we're getting into a bit of a fight now. No, could have done without that unit of barbarians coming in from the back. But we have got quite a lot of stuff here. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a slog. We've got our allies over there on the right-hand side trying to push through, as well as a few enemy archers. If we do win here and capture that point, the E point, then we can realistically pull back and just sort of recharge our unit on the healing zone probably fairly easily. So it shouldn't be too bad for us to get all our units back up to full health. And of course we have, which is different from the original game, the sort of veterancy in-game. If you see down at the bottom of the screen, you can see that the unit is gaining experience as it fights, or effectively as it kills stuff and caps, etc., as it, does helpful activities in the game, and that gives you sort of a buff in-game, 15% increase to melee attack, melee damage, etc. It's actually a fairly significant buff, so it does make quite a big difference. If you can get your unit leveled up and you start to come up against even higher tier unleveled units, you find that you tend to cut through them fairly easily. So actually getting those ranks early on, keeping your unit alive and getting those ranks really does make quite a big difference, because it makes your unit quite a lot stronger. At least that's what I've found. Just trying to run my Libyans through the Roman unit, because there's not very many of them left, and then we can hopefully sort of get a few more kills a little bit easier and actually finish them off. And it looks like our allies on our right flank won as well. Let's try and push around. We've got a few guys over there which may push into the back of us here. If they do, that's going to make our position harder. Some of those barbarians are pulling back to defend point. But we'll take this remaining unit here. Then let's just charge him. Charge together. Nice. Okay, we should be able to defeat these, well, lower tier barbarians pretty easily. Barbarians only seem to work really, or at least used to only really work very well in forests. Although when you had them with Vercingetorix and you could set everyone else on fire, that was always an added benefit, which always makes things fairly fun. Okay, let's keep the pressure on there. Get this last bit of unit here killed off, and then we can push on to the final flag point. Go on, right, nice, that's him dead. Push on to the point. Looks like the team has actually already got some capture on it, which is good for us. In we go. Come on, keep moving unit. Ping is a little bit high. Ooh, they're going to push in. Let's leave our commander's unit on the base point to get a few cap points. Let's just charge in here. They're bringing in cavalry as well. We basically need to intercept them from pushing through us and getting onto the cap point. Because if they get onto that cap point, well, then they'll stop us being able to cap it. Looks like we've stopped them fairly effectively here. This cavalry is not going to really be pushing through me, I don't think. And there we go. We've got the cap now, so we can throw our unit back into the fight if we want to. So yeah, as I was saying, ping, it is perfectly playable at the current ping level. It seems to sit about 300 for me. It's not great. You can definitely feel it compared to what it used to be like on the European servers. But it's not game breaking. You can certainly still play it here with the ping as it is. So yeah, I wouldn't stress too much about the ping, and I think realistically it doesn't really matter wherever you are in kind of in Europe or North America, then the ping, you know, is not going to be great. So you're going to kind of be in the same sort of boat. Looks like we're cutting through them fairly effectively though. Yeah, some of our allies have gone back to the healing point and got healed up. That is exactly where I'm going to be going next. Come on, let's just finish off these last few units of barbarians. There we go, he's dead. Last unit, few cavalry units have run away. Which is fine by me, particularly if they're going to run into the front of a unit of hoplites. That works nicely. You see, we've actually got 2 veterancy points now on our units, so our unit's coming on quite nicely. Come on, there we go. Those friendly archers are actually fairly helpful there. Let's get our unit over to this healing pad. So this is how basically this game mode works if you've not seen it before. Basically, you can, when you capture a point, it unlocks a healing pad nearish to the point, and then I can pull back to this sort of zone, and you'll see as my unit goes in it, they basically start to replenish, and it takes them, what, it's going to be 15 seconds. They can get the unit replenished up, and they'll basically come back full health. So you don't really lose units permanently in this game mode. It's more about these sort of instance battles. Do you win the fight for each control point? And there we go. Units back to full health. We're not even leading the team. Disappointing, Evo. My arena skills have not carried over very well. He's got quite a bit of damage. Looking at also, you can see some of the other human players on the enemy team. Looks like they've got quite a bit of stuff here, but we really need to recapture the C point. So if we can start to engage their, basically their archer line, for want of a better word, at the back here, then we might not be in a too bad a position, particularly if we're just going to leave these archers here. Got these friendly hoplites which seem to be getting set up, but they are getting a fair amount of archer fire coming in. We've also got these sword militia going to interrupt. Let's just go for a group charge. I should get more of my units around, which it does. Come on, flank, 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 move! Will you give me a rear flank? I should have pushed you further around. Oh, some of those enemy archers are close though as well. Come on, give me a rear flank modifier. No, is it going to happen? No, it's not. That's frustrating. And now we've been pushed in by a sword militia on the other flank. Can we get this unit of archers? Not really. Okay, that didn't quite pan out as I intended. We are being shot in the side by some enemy unit of barbarian archers, I think, on that right flank. Try and get the flanking modifier on this Roman sword unit. We're not completely losing the E point. We've got allies defending it. And we could send a unit against the enemy archers, I suppose. Might be a viable option. We are defeating these Romans, although we've got more reinforcements starting to come down the hillside if they're going to turn into actually engage me. We've captured the C point though, so we actually kind of accomplished our aim. And as you see, our point score is currently ticking ahead far quicker. Right, break off. Charge! I'm not sure how well we're going to do head-to-head on a road against Romans. If I remember, road gives heavy infantry a buff. And I suspect these Roman infantry are going to get a buff. Okay, they're pretty much dead. Let's turn and charge into these guys as well. It's not a bad little charge, this Hasdrubal flying charge. We should get our buff off cooldown here shortly as well. Go on, finish these Romans, then we can perhaps flank that other Legion unit there. Go on, get them as they rout. Nice job. Okay, let's get a flanking. Try and keep this unit alive. We've almost got this game in the bag. If we can just keep hold of some of these points a little bit longer. I see we are losing the E point again a little bit. Flanking round. Charge. Nice. Okay, well, we got away with that one. And we actually were struggling against that unit of Romans. I think they're the Lost Legion. They might even be a premium unit. But I'm not quite sure on what all the individual different premium units are at the moment. Some of my units getting promotions. And you can see I'm using my buffs on my own unit to give them increased melee attack and all that sort of stuff. Oh, here comes the cavalry. Did they even charge? If not, that was definitely a mistake on their part. Right, there go the Romans. Turn on the cavalry. We should be able to deal with these guys without too much trouble, I should have thought. It's annoying we're being shot at by enemy archers the entire time. Our team is still actually contesting the E point, not let the enemy just take it. But we can now start to go up and pressure this point up here. Although, actually, we've really about got this game in the bag, so as long as we don't lose any critical points now, then I think we've pretty much got this one in. There we go. Run over some of the enemy archers. Nice, nice, nice. Push those 2 units onto the point. We'll leave 1 unit to fight the enemy infantry and archers. Get them routing. And there we go. Victory. Nice. Well, that was certainly good fun. So, is Arena still playable in 2022? Yes, evidently. Is it still worthwhile getting into? I think it can be. I think if you're a new player, then probably not. But if you're an existing player who wants a little bit of a nostalgia trip, then I think it's probably worth checking out because it isn't that hard to install and download. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Oh, if you have, do let me know what you think in the comments down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel for, well, another Arena video in 2023. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all on the next video.